Recently, we dropped a video that showed how the Ninjago City Markets combines with other Ninjago City sets like these right here. And the response was so strong, you all asked us to create another video, this time showing how the Markets works with these sets in L and U-shaped configurations. So we went ahead and did that, but because we don't have a lot of display space, we had to film it on the floor. And when doing that, check out what happened. That's right, our cat terrorized our Ninjago City layout. So if you want to check that out, make sure you stay tuned and see all of these new combinations. And first up, we have the docks to the city, to the markets, and the gardens. This is a classic L-shaped layout, and it looks pretty good. I mean, it's a little bit empty on the other side by the gardens. And that's because you've got the docks that come out on the left-hand side, but there's nothing on the right-hand side. But again, an L shape, and if you had a nice corner display, I think this works pretty well. You can see that the angle coming in from the docks to the city and then down the row looks good. It looks busy, it looks like a city. And then from the back side, that corner from the docks to the city is a great combination. We've seen that before in the first video, and I think it looks pretty good. Now, quick walkthrough. You have this nice corner as you turn it from the docks to the city, and just going down the line from the city to the markets to the gardens. I think it looks fantastic, but that's more the linear layout that we saw in the first video. Now, checking it out from a higher elevation, I think it looks really good. I love the difference in heights. It looks very much like a city would. The docks, though, still are really, really low, and so it's kind of interesting to try to place those so that they don't get lost in the rest of the layout. Looking a little bit at the back, again, very narrow with the Ninjago City Markets, and that transition from the markets to the gardens, not too bad. There's a nice pocket of water there by the temple and that back corner. Next up, we've got the docks to the gardens, to the markets, to the city, and then the temple. So having a little bit on the other side of the layout. So a little bit of a U shape, or maybe kind of like a J shape of sorts. And I think this one is an interesting combination. Putting the temple over on the other side, though, it can get very, very lost next to the height of the city with nothing on the other side of it, as you can see from this overhead view. The city to the markets is a nice combination in the corner there. Check out this look. You've got this boat that's kind of angled, pointing out the back. There's a nice little canal that allows room for that boat to maneuver, and I think that looks pretty solid. The docks over there by the gardens, again, a very, very strong connection point right there. And I like how that boat has plenty of room to maneuver coming out from the docks, and you've still got this depth to the corner. I think that's a nice virtue of the gardens. Next up, we've got the markets to the gardens, to the docks, and then the city. So we're switching up these straits, and this one I think is a little bit better than the last ones because the markets are much more visible even when they're behind something as tall as the gardens. You can see the tall lime green tower sticking out, and the docks, by being in the front, don't get lost in all of the busyness and all of the height and size of those corner buildings. And so the connection is still strong, especially look at this overhead. You've definitely got a lot going on. There's plenty of room behind the docks to work out, so that's fantastic. This corner pocket here from the markets to the gardens looks really good, although there's not a lot of room to maneuver with that little rocky spot there in the corner of the gardens. But still, that angular plate from the markets with that transition looks pretty good. On the other side, we've got the docks heading into the city and the markets, and again, you've got that canalway. It's not too bad, although that loading station for the docks there might get in the way of some of the boats, so it's a little bit more complicated. Now here we have a walkthrough of this layout, although I've switched the temple back by the gardens to see what that looked like in the overhead, and it can get a little bit lost, but next to the docks, it's probably the best place for it given the lack of height there. Looking on the back side of it, I do like the natural pocket you have there with the temple by the gardens, as that set is constructed that way. And again, you've got this nice set of canals, one by the docks, one by the city, heading out into open waters. Next, we've got the markets, to the gardens, to the city, to the temple, to the docks. This is a classic squish everything together. Check this out. We've got all sorts of chaos going on here, wrapping around, taking those docks, removing them from the middle front, and just putting them on the side. You've got equal layouts by taking the temple and the docks on the same side next to the city. And of course, it's a massive jam up on the back of these sets. Look at this canal from the city to the other sets. There's no room for maneuverability. In fact, you can see as we zoom out, this room for the behind the dock does not exist. I mean, check it out. You've got nowhere for the loading station to turn. It goes right into the markets, and maybe that's a small drawback to the markets, the lack of depth to the back of it, but that's a small critique when you combine it. I mean, check this out. There's no room for even a 4-wide boat to maneuver because of the 3-wide gap on the back of the markets. Now we're going to come to my favorite layout, the markets, to the gardens, to the temple, to the city, and the docks, in a little bit of a U-shape, not a perfect U-shape. Check it out here. We do have the temple in the middle between the two corner buildings, which I really liked from the first video that I did, but what makes this nice is there's plenty of room in the back. You can see on this overhead view, the docks, there's plenty of room behind it. You could put 16 by 16 base plates there to kind of close off the water part, or to make the water more accessible, and I think it looks really good. I like this kind of street vibe that we have from the temple, although the second levels would need some sort of barricade so people don't just walk off the side. Noting this gap right here, I like how you can see between the two corner buildings, and behind it you can see some of the busyness, the bustle and the hustle that goes on with the docks here on the right hand side. You can also check out on the left hand side, seeing the markets, and because of the depth of the markets from the front at least, you can see a lot going on there. And then overhead view from the back side, plenty of room in the canal for the city, for the boat to come through, plenty of room for the other boats from the docks to get out. So I think there's a lot going on here that is pretty nice. Also checking out the overhead, looking this transition in the middle, there's plenty of room, plenty of water. I think it looks great. Even the light shimmering off those tiles, I think it's a nice look. And then finally, we've got this look from the other side, on the left-hand side. Again, a nice pocket there, but the gardens, the transition to the markets is strong. So I was really enjoying putting this video together, and then of course, well, something happened. That's right, Zeus, our affable and friendly cat, decided to peek into the backside of our Ninjago City layout and was really interested in this antenna at the top of the temple. He loves like plastic corners, and he loves just nibbling on those kinds of things and rubbing his cheeks up on it, and so he was really interested in that for whatever reason. So I was trying to get him out without destroying too much. There you go. You can see my hand pop in there like, come on, Zeus, get out of here. He just kind of looked at me like, what are you doing? And so I had to resort to moving to the other side of the layout and try to coax him out. He kind of got a little stuck in there. So he's looking around, how do I get out of here? I got myself in this mess. Don't know how to get out. Could I try this way? Or maybe I'll just go ahead and split the gap. And there you go, crisis averted. I guess there's something fitting about a cat terrorizing a Ninjago city, right? Well, we had a lot of fun, as did our cat Zeus, and we hope that you enjoyed seeing more of these combinations. Hey, real quick before you go, we also make some custom builds. In fact, check out this custom configuration of a Friends 2023 set. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and always remember to keep building together.